Uh-oh.
All right, good afternoon, guys. We're going to jump right in. Today's coaching call is all about building the most important system that you could possibly have, and that is your lead generation system. What do I mean when I say system? A system is just something that's easily duplicatable, something that it's kind of like set it and forget it. Having an automatic alarm on your phone is a system that helps you get to where you need to be on time. Having a calendar reminder reminds you, it's a system, right? There's so many different systems in our real estate world that we get bogged down and we don't remember the most important one, and that is lead generation. My team and I were reading a book. It's called The One Thing. And for a realtor, your one thing is to lead generate. And let me not mince words when I say that if it is not your top priority, you won't be here in a year on this call, because you can't afford to be. You have to be generating leads 5 days a week, a couple hours a day, getting your 100 contacts, 100 conversations every single week. Now, the question comes down to, well, Josh, what does that look like? How do I lead generate? And the answer to that is not necessarily simple, because there's so many different ways to lead generate. And I'm going to share some with you here. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to cover two different pieces of information here today that you're going to find hopefully useful. Things that are created by people other than myself. So I choose not to reinvent the wheel. This first document here is lead generation ideas. If you can't see, try and zoom in. You should be able to see. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Is it possible you can probably send it to us?
I can. I will, and I'll also send the other document as well. I'll send it to anyone who's on this call. I will not send it out just to everyone because they didn't decide that attending was too important for them. Now, if anyone's reviewing this on the YouTube channel and reaches out to me, I will also send it to them. So this call is, just so you all know, the calls are always recorded and they're added to our YouTube channel the next day by the latest. So in case you have to miss a call ever, they're there. But I'd much rather you be on so that you can get this information straight from the horse's mouth. So what I want to do here is kind of going to be kind of different than what we normally do. I'm not going to cover every single one of these bullet points. I think I counted like, I don't know, 65 or 70 different lead generation ideas. What I want to do though is I want you to read through them and highlight 3 different things that you're either interested in or maybe already doing, or things that you could see yourself doing to generate leads. I'm going to shut my mouth and I'm going to give you, I don't know, a couple minutes. I'm going to keep scrolling up and down so you get a chance to see the whole sheet here. But I want you to circle, highlight, write down 3 different sources of lead generation that interest you. And after we're done, y'all are going to cover what 3 you wrote down, and you're going to ask questions about what some of these things might mean, because I understand that some of you are so new that you might not understand what sports schedule means, and we can talk about that as a group. So I'm going to shut up now. Write down 3 things that you could see yourself doing for lead generation. All right, hopefully you've had enough time. We are going to start by talking about which streams of lead generation interest you. I'm going to go down the line here. We'll start with Mr. Brad. What are the 3 that stood out to you?
Well, one that I have this sheet and I didn't notice it on there before was the golf course information thing. And I'm working on trying to figure out a way. I already use the golf course for lead generation now by, going out on the golf course with people and try to golf with someone new every week or every other week. So that's kind of the information side of things is something I didn't really notice, but that's one. Birthday cards is something I'm already doing. Started this year, so that stuck out. And then market info, that one kind of struck something different with me this time. Normally I think about like just, hey, this is what's going on in the market kind of thing. And there's a lot of people that do that. So I want to try to find a new way to talk about the market. And something we talked about in the monthly meeting yesterday is how we are we control what people are thinking. So if we just need to be more positive about the market and not scare so many people. So I kind of incorporated that a little bit to think about something new there.
Great. Thanks for sharing. Sam, what are 3 things that stood out?
Can you hear me okay, Josh?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, so I'm driving, so I wasn't able to look at the list. But 3 things that I do are cold calling, social media, and then email marketing campaign. And kind of like we talked about on a previous call, doing either spotlighting, a restaurant, or doing a monthly calendar for, the Dublin area or wherever it is that you live, and just trying to touch my contacts through that.
Cool. Thank you. Rachel.
Oh, I hope you can hear me well, but I like doing the physical calls, and also I've been doing a lot of business cards. I'm a huge fan of business cards. And past clients calls, yes, from 2022. I've been reaching out to first-time homeowners who had to work on their credit, so I've been doing those 3.
Great. Kevin.
The 3 I picked out was hiking trails, volunteering, and market information. It's just something different, out of the ordinary.
Great. Victor, I see you just jumped on. We're selecting 3 of the things from the list here that resonate with us, something that we might consider placing in our lead generation. As I asked the question, Victor, what are 3 things that you'd like to focus on for lead generation?
I like that. Go back. I like that. The school information, like planning something to go back to my high school to do like career day. Let's see. I go to a networking group breakfast on the 29th. And I love past client calls. That's probably the best one.
Great. You've all seen the list now. What stood out like from a question standpoint, like what does that mean? Were there any of these things that stood out like I just don't understand what that means?
Yeah, like that sports schedule. I was gonna actually, that was the curious one.
Sure. So Rachel, you're located in Columbus. What are some of the biggest sports teams that we have in Columbus?
Ohio State, right? I think that would that would be the only one I could think of.
Yeah, 100%. So let's say our bread and butter here is Ohio State football. Like that's our number 1 team. Other teams you got Blue Jackets, Columbus Crew, Columbus Clippers. We are a good little sports town, but what a lot of agents will do or people in business will do is they'll pair with a calendar company that prints off little like magnets that have the schedules for the teams on them. And the cool thing about those is you can normally brand those to yourself so that you're basically living on someone's fridge. So I don't know if y'all ever get magnets in the mail, but every time I get a magnet, I don't know why I throw that stupid thing on the fridge and it sits there for years and years and years. But sports schedules is just that, like sending those out. Now, you don't have to send it out a magnet. Those are pretty pricey relative to just a postcard. You could send a postcard out and then that could show up on the refrigerator underneath a magnet that you sent 3 years ago. What other questions about any of the things on the list here?
One question I have, what's the chicken soup for the soul stories?
That's a great question. So Chicken Soup for the Soul is like a book that was released in, I want to say like the 90s or early thousands. And there was a whole series of them, like Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul or Chicken Soup for the Parent's Soul. It's all basically healthy stories that lead to you living a better life. So I believe that they're stories that are positive, that are geared at self-improvement. So in theory, what you might do is send, once a year, like, hey, I thought this story was fun. Here it is in the mail or email or whatever. And Sam, like you were saying, if you're doing monthly email marketing, that could be one of those things. Is maybe not chicken soup for the soul, but a positive story. Like people want to relate to positive things, right? So if we can throw some positivity in there, great. Anything else that stood out that you didn't understand? Cool. So thanks for playing along. The next thing I want to do is, if we're building a system, we're going to take those 3 things that you just said you'd like to focus on, and we're going to literally put them on a calendar. Your system should be the same week to week to week to week. Now, might you adapt those things or twist those things or improve upon these things? Absolutely. And you may find once we start this exercise, guys, that hiking trails isn't something that you can repeat over time. But what my thought would be is to create a system. I'm going to share a different page here. Somebody's already done this for us. I just have to find it now. That ain't it. Somebody has sent me a download. Here it is. Of a 5-day work week. This is, and I'll share this with y'all. This is a 5-day work week. Now you'll notice this was released in 2020. The same principles apply today that did 3 years ago. So what we want to do is take those 3 things that we just jotted down and work those into our week and say, okay, how am I going to do these things? Now you notice day 1 for this person, whoever created this, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 priorities. Number 1, contact 10 SOI. What does SOI stand for?
Sphere of influence.
Sphere of influence.
Yes, thank you. So please note, none of you said sphere of influence as one of the 3 things you were going to focus on. That's okay. I think it hopefully was implied. Your business, especially your number 1, is going to come from your sphere of influence, number 1, first and foremost. Every year after that, it's still going to be your number 1 lead generation source. If you're not pummeling your sphere of influence with conversations, with emails, texts, invites to parties, information on hiking trails, social media posts about the school career day you just held, all that type of stuff, your sphere of influence is your bread and butter. Some people might call this strategy of reaching out to your sphere of influence the DTD2, right? So if I'm you, my number 1 source of lead generation is DTD2. I just wrote that in the chat. What I mean by your number 1 lead source is that you have to, I don't know if you ever heard the term major in the majors. Like, I want to focus on my money-making activities. Golf courses is cool and fun, but that's likely not going to be my number 1 source of lead generation. Even social media is awesome. Your core group is typically within that social media viewership, but it's not going to be your number 1. Your number 1 will always be your sphere of influence. So if I realize that, Then I'm creating my 5-day work week. And for me, it's Monday through Friday. For Kevin, it might look different because maybe he works Monday through Friday. So maybe it's Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. What we really want to do here is create a system that is repeatable, duplicatable. So every week it's the same. Now, schedules might change. Like if you're Rachel, I don't know if you're still pulling the overnights, or if you're Kevin working in retail. I know the schedules change. But you can still do it this way. You can say day one, I'm going to focus, and that's what they did on here on this sheet. Day one, they're going to contact 10 sphere of influence. Now notice this doesn't say call 10 sphere of influence. It doesn't say email 10 sphere of influence. It says contact, meaning they actually make contact with 10 sphere of influence people. So this is call however many people it requires you to until you've connected with 10 people. For us, I like to call it DTD2. You just call through your whole list of A and W's. Does it? I keep saying DTD2, and I know that most of you understand what that means. It's Rachel and Kevin, you might be the only ones that don't know what that means. Are you guys aware of what DTD2 stands for?
I don't.
Okay, good. Thank you for saying that. DTD2 stands for do the database to. If there's 26 letters in the alphabet, there are 13 weeks in a quarter of the year. So what you do is you divide 26 by 13 and you get 2. You need 2 letters every week of the year, and you will hit everybody in your database 4 times. Because there's 13 weeks in a quarter, there's 4 quarters in a year. So in theory, the first week is this is an actual system. You can look this up on Google. Just type in DTD2 system, and it'll pull up on Google. The first week is A's and W's. So if I know a Mark Andrews and John Williams, I'm calling those people week 1. And you call those people with any number of things you want to. For Brad, if he's talking about golf course information, he could be spotlighting golf course information if he knows them well and knows that they're golfers. Or he could be doing his research for his birthday card saying, hey John, it's Brad. It's been a while. I'm just updating my database. Just want to know when your birthday is. Notice that really doesn't have anything to do with real estate, but I promise that conversation, if it keeps going long enough, we'll get to real estate, right? So DTD2 is a system that is in place for us to reach out to our database in a systematic quarterly fashion. So for me, day 1 of the each week should be DTD2. And then on my team, like the person who I have helping me with all my contacts, we also do it on Friday. Why would I try to reach out to my database twice in a week? Any ideas there? I try to reach out to them twice because day 1, I am not going to connect with everybody. So what me reaching out twice does is day 1 of the week, let's say it's Monday for me, I call through all my DTD2, and I may only touch base with like 20% of them, but the other 80% I left a message with, and I shot them a text. Day 5, which is Friday for me, we're doing it again, but we're trying to reach out to the 80% that we didn't hit before. So it guarantees that we've given our best effort 2 times in a given week to reach out. So odds are by the end of the week, we will have reached out to maybe who knows how many we connected with, but maybe like 40 to 50% would be a great success rate. So if Monday and Friday is DTD2 for me, I'm not saying you have to steal shamelessly, but you can if you want. Then I still have something that I can do Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And maybe that's where my 3 other things fall. For this person here on the screen share, they also wanted to preview 2 homes. When I say preview 2 homes, what does that mean to y'all? What do you think preview 2 homes means?
You want to go see 2 homes?
Yeah, preview just means you might not have any buyers for them, but you're going to go out and see 2 homes. I promise you, if you actually do this, this isn't really like the greatest lead gen source, but this is a great way to become an expert. It's also a great way for you to develop social media content, because as you're previewing homes, you're actually in these homes. You can take little pictures and stuff and post them. I'm a big fan of toilets. I love taking pictures of weird colored toilets. I think it's hilarious. Some of the decor that people use. So as long as you're not taking like shots of the whole room and like you can guarantee like anybody knows whose house that is, you can post these things. You can get away with it. But previewing homes is a great activity that you can do to start getting in the mindset of being a realtor. You don't need to have a client to go preview a home. You can just simply reach out to the other agent and say, hey, I'd like to preview a home. And you can always say, I might have a buyer, because that's true. You might have a buyer, or you might just be making it up. Preview 2 homes, go be in the field. The third thing that they're going to focus on day 1 is sending 3 note cards. I noticed Brad said birthday cards, which are a form of a note card. Why do y'all think it's important? We've talked about note cards before. Why do you think note cards are important?
Because anytime you're writing a handwritten note, it's always going to be more valuable or more important in that person's mind than like an email or a text.
Bingo. And then what's the likelihood that they actually hold on to it? It's much higher. The next piece here, they're adding 10 people to their contacts in command. Now, why is this important? Now, for me, that might be challenging because I've been in the business 5 years and all my contacts are for the most part already in command. I'd have to go meet 10 new people. That'd be a great exercise. But for y'all in your first year, this should actually be pretty simple. Unless you've already taken the measures to add everybody that you know, this is a great system to ensure that within the first probably quarter, you've probably got everyone in your database. Last thing that they're trying to do on day 1 is write a listing agreement. Now, for you might not have any buyers or sellers, but why not do a practice listing agreement? Day 1 here on this form, this is a nice full day. They're going to call as many people as it takes to get 10 people in touch with 10 people. They're going to go out to the field and preview two homes, sending 3 note cards. Now, who could they send the note cards to? How about maybe 3 of the 10 people that they talked to earlier? And just a sincere thank you for taking the time out of your day to talk to me. I loved hearing about your dog and your cat and your trip you're taking. Sincerely, Kevin. Here's some sweet hiking trails. Here's some script work. So again, I'm going to send this to y'all. So be ready for it. But here's some, sorry, we're not supposed to call it scripts. Conversation. This is a conversation you can have. Note card script. Here's one if you're confused on what that should look like. Boom. Thanks for talking to me today. I look forward to being your realtor of choice. Go ahead and say it, guys. Don't hesitate or be bashful. Go ahead and say, I want to be your realtor. What's the worst that can happen? They throw it in the trash. You don't even know about it, right? Now, in order to schedule a preview, you can do these 2 options. Easiest and typically the most efficient is to use showing time with automated features. Just go on showing time. You don't have to reach out to the listing agent. The listing agent doesn't need to know you don't have a client. Just do it through showing time. Be done with it. Day 2. Notice for this person, they're also going back to the well and they're going to reach out to their sphere of influence. They know where their bread and butter is. So they're going to make 10 conversations each day. They're going to preview 2 homes again, send 3 note cards. But today they're going to focus on door knocking. I noticed nobody said, I don't think anyone said door knocking. I know we've talked about it in the past, but door knocking is something that is
What's
a
up?
great lead source option. So if I was out to go out and door knock 10 homes, honestly, if you're going to door knock 10 homes, you might only get 1 or 2 to answer. I would up that personally to, you can door knock like 50 homes in a condensed neighborhood in the span of 2 hours. At the end of the day, we just have to understand that this whole lead gen thing is actually our job. And most people work 8-hour shifts on their job and expect a consistent paycheck. If we realtors want a consistent paycheck, we realize this is a job we're going to have to actually focus on and have a system for it. So maybe I put down Tuesday is going to be my door knocking day. Or maybe I really just want to focus on 3 overall things, and DTD2 is one of them, like my sphere, my database. Door knocking is the other one. And then maybe like Sam, he wants to cold call. There's no right and there's no wrong. What you want to do is find what's right for you and focus on it. And most importantly, what I'm hoping happens by the end of this call, and this is for everyone on the call, literally draw out a map of your week. Write down at the top of your paper, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's 5 days work week. Here's what I'm going to do on Monday. Don't overcomplicate it. Make it simple. Just say DTD2. That's my focus. Get through the whole list. Tuesday, don't overthink it. Just say door knocking or email marketing. Wednesday, all cold calling. Thursday, write out birthday cards for the next month or for the next week. Friday, DTD2. I hope I'm making sense to y'all. Day 2, they're going to add 10 additional contacts in command. So in the span of a week, they're going to add like 50 contacts, I'm pretty sure. This thing that I'm going to share with you has door knocking kind of success guides, conversation, like how you could go about that. Day 3. Are you starting to see a pattern here for this person? Their system entails really just so far they're doing for lead generation, they're contacting sphere of influence. That's 1. They're sending note cards in the mail. That's 2. They're door knocking. That's 3. Now this one, they're door knocking 2 expired listings. Victor, why would we reach out to expired listings? What does that even mean? What's an expired listing?
It's someone that agreed to list their home with a real estate agent, and it went past the duration of 6 months or whatever the agreement was.
Yeah, and it didn't sell for some reason, and now you actually have access to their address and can go reach out to them, right? So that's why in theory, these people have already raised their hand to sell, and it just didn't sell. So why not be that agent who can come through for them? So they got door knocking. And then once a week, they're going to do a buyer brokerage agreement. So these are all just practicing type things. Now, when you're touching base with expireds, here's another cheat sheet. Again, I'm going to send this to y'all. You don't have to memorize it all. Day 4, same deal. They're very religious in this. And now they're going to go door knock FSBOs. So this isn't rocket science, guys, and hopefully this is helpful information. This person is a very successful agent. I don't know where they're located, but my understanding is that this is all they focus on, and they are running a big business. So they're focusing on their sphere, which should be number 1. They're sending mail note cards, and they're door knocking. Those are the 3 things that this person's focusing on. Now, they augment the door knocking with focusing on a neighborhood, which would be a farm, for sale by owners, which would be people who tried to sell their home themselves, and maybe they're struggling to do so, but they're already raising their hand saying, I want to sell. And then last but not least, they're door knocking expireds. I love that they're practicing writing offers. More script work here. more, conversation work for sale by owners. Anytime you hear the term FSBO, it just simply means for sale by owner. FSBOs want your help. They need your help, but they don't want to pay for your help. So we can get them over that. Big old conversation starter. Open house isn't on here. So let's see if that's on there next day here. Day 5, more sphere of influence. Send 3 note cards. Add 10. For this person, I love this right here. This is why we track how many people we're touching and how we're touching them. For this person, their average was 125 contacts or conversations equals 1 appointment. So in theory, we would be pretty smart to budget into our 5-day work week, 100 and whatever it takes for you to schedule an appointment. Maybe you're really good and you got your bread and butter and it's working for you 1 week, and it only takes you 50 conversations to set an appointment. Awesome. Keep working, get 2, so that next week when the things dry up, you've already built a pipeline of appointments. You can see a bunch of math on here. We're not going to go into this. I wish they would have chosen a better script form of writing, because this is whimsical. Social media can be an approach. Sending like personal messages. I'm going to stop sharing. Are y'all thinking right now, like, how can I build my system? I hope the answer is yes to that. I'm gonna give y'all like 5 minutes. It's gonna be awkwardly silent on here for 5 minutes. I want you all to, and if you're driving, don't do this, but if you're driving, pull over. This is the most important thing you could do all week. I want you to map out what your 5-day work week looks like. Just in theory. You don't have to nail it down or lock it in today, but I want you to take a few minutes and literally write down, what am I going to do on my first day, which for a full-time agent should probably be Monday. Or if you know you're going to have open houses and stuff, maybe it's Sunday. What are you going to do day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to be successful, to hit your lead gen goals, to systematically knock down all these things you said were interesting to you? How are you going to instill them into your calendar, your schedule? So take 5 minutes, write down on the top of your paper, day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And underneath those numbers, write down what you're going to do each day. Don't overdo it. Make it simple. 5 minutes starts now. I just put back up on the screen all the lead generation ideas. And this is honestly, this is just scratching the surface on how many different opportunities there are to get your name out there. And at the end of the day, guys, this is what lead generation is all about. It's you telling people you're in real estate and looking for opportunities to help anyone with anything real estate related. Doesn't have to be buying or selling a home. It could be, hey, do you want to know how much your home is worth? That's a great way to get your foot in the door. But all these opportunities are really nice resources. Again, I will share this with you after our call-ins. I'll also share the other example of a 5-day work week. We never really do this, so I'm anxious to hear kind of what tangible takeaways y'all have. So I'm going to go down the list here. Brad, I'll start with you. So yeah, and guys, please know this all comes from like real life. So I asked some people yesterday in a meeting, like, hey, explain what your lead generation looks like. And the answers, although they were good, were kind of all over the place, and that there was no defined system for the lead generation. And it sounded as if some days we kind of fly by the seat of our pants. And I was right there with y'all. My first year, I knew what I wanted to do, but every day I'd wake up and I would just kind of dabble in this, dabble in that, and dabble in this. And then I finally realized, maybe through my coaching, my coach kind of told me, like, let's focus on one thing each day. Like, let's knock it out of the park with this one thing. And so in theory, if I was asked that question again, like, hey, what does your lead generation look like? The answer should literally be this simple. On Monday, I do this. On Tuesday, I do this. Wednesday, down the line. So Brad, I'm going to start with you. If you don't mind giving me kind of your thoughts. Maybe you didn't lock it all in yet. But how are you breaking down your 5-day work week?
Yeah, so that was something that was eye-opening yesterday during our conversation. I didn't really have a plan. So day one, I'm working Sphere 3 days a week. So day 1, 3, and 5, I'm working Sphere, at least making at least 5 contacts and setting at least 2 appointments by the end of the week. 5 contacts each day. And then on day 2, I'm going to cold call through like neighborhood through Mojo, like on like neighborhood searches or whatever, focus on a neighborhood and knock that out. Like maybe focus on a neighborhood a month or something. And then day 4, I'm going to try to work in social media. I'm going to try to do that every day, but day 4, I really want to like focus on it more and interact more, I guess.
Great. And as you're budgeting it, will that get you your 100 real estate conversations each week?
I mean, I also have like on day 1, I'm going to do handwritten notes, 10 handwritten cards. So like, yeah, I guess. So I got 10, 10, 10, and 5. So there, I mean, with the cold calling and social media stuff, I probably will, on top of other things.
And so I love the concept of the cold calling. We supply you through a coaching program. You have access to a power dialer, which allows you to cold call a lot of people in a short amount of time. I would always, back when I was my first year, I front loaded my cold calling because I could typically get, like, in one day, I could probably get 40 or 50 people to pick up the phone if I was to pull like a longer shift. And so my thought was to front load the week with my real estate conversations so I could get as many as possible, like Monday, Tuesday, so that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I was being really strategic. I wouldn't have to work as hard to make sure I hit my 100. In theory, what y'all want to do is if Friday's day 5 and you really kind of want to take it easy on Friday, take it easy on Friday, but make sure you've already got your 100 conversations. So what I would do is I would go into Friday only needing like 10 conversations. And so I would guarantee that if I wasn't making good, if I wasn't getting good conversations with my Sphere, or nobody was responding on emails or texts or whatever, I could just jump on the cold call dialer and get 10 lickety split. End of the day, we have to make sure that our recipe for success, our system for the week, our recipe delivers a finished product that equals 100 real estate conversations. Sam, what's yours look like?
Yep. So I wrote on Monday, I'm going to do social media and birthday cards for the week, probably maybe into like the following week for the birthday cards. Tuesday, cold call, and then either flyers, so like door hangers or door knock. Wednesday, email marketing, and then 5 sphere texts or calls. Thursday, cold call, and then same thing as Tuesday, flyers or door knock. And then for Friday, I did social media, so focus heavy on social media. And then I also put like do something out of my comfort zone. So whether that be maybe go to like a chamber event, or go to a new restaurant and try to, network with people there, or go to a networking event, or, just do something out of the ordinary that I would not typically do.
I really like that. I like that you've identified some things that like might stretch you professionally and personally. I'll say what sounds like might be out of your comfort zone is your sphere, because I think I only heard you say it once
On Wednesday.
Yeah, man, I can't lie. Your sphere's your bread and butter. I'd put that earlier in the week, or I'd put it multiple days of the week, because the amount of attention you're giving to your sphere is 20%. Honestly, it needs to be more if you're going to be really successful. Okay, so I would challenge you to go back to the drawing board, and I appreciate everything you're saying. I like the plan, but don't muddy the waters too much. You got multiple things happening on certain days. Make it simple. Keep it simple. I'd rather, we should have a maximum, guys, of 3 things we're focusing on for lead generation. If you have more than 3 things, it's too much to fit into a week, and you're not going to actually focus on any of them. So we all have the same, Brad and Sam, I appreciate you guys going first and being the guinea pigs here. I was the same exact way. I chased after every shiny object and every squirrel that came along. I was like, "Ooh, I should try this. Ooh, I should try that." Make it simple. I want to clear that up for y'all. The simpler, the better. Sphere of influence, number 1. Then after that comes everything else. Number 1 by a landslide. It should probably be 40% at least of what you're doing. So I would say at least 2 days out of the week. Cool. Rachel, what about your thoughts? If you're talking, Rachel, you are muted.
I'm so sorry, Josh. What was the question?
What does your week look like? What did you write down?
Oh, yes. So what I wrote down was on Monday, call 5 past clients. On Tuesday, call FISBO and also house viewing. And Wednesday, prospecting. Also Thursday, prospecting, calling FISBO. And then Friday, I hope I have an appointment. I've been doing a lot of prospecting at my job, because I work at a warehouse, so that's why I'm trying to get together with this buyer's presentation seminar, and have a couple people who's interested at my job who would like to attend. So I'm in the process of trying to get that together. But I was wondering if you had somebody who would be interested in speaking at my buyer's presentation for Fisher Homes.
Yeah, I'm happy to help any way I can.
Okay, good. We'll talk about that, because I would love a speaker, because I'm gonna have the lender there. But I've been doing a lot of prospecting at my job, because there's a lot of people there and they've been there for a while. So we shall see how that goes.
Yeah. The one thing, Rachel, and this goes for everyone, on the top of your paper, you detailed day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Our average amount of conversations we should have every day is 20, right? Because if our goal is to get 100 real estate conversations every week, we break it down into 5 work days. We have to average 20 a day. So the real conversation in our minds is what I'm budgeting enough to get me 20 real estate conversations a day. You said 2 days for prospecting. I view cold calling as the best way to prospect. and the best, easiest way to get a lot of conversation. So maybe you're heavier on those days, but end of the day, guys, I cannot stress it enough. 100 needs to be your goal. Cool.
Yes, I do agree with you completely, and that will be the goal.
Good. Vic.
I'm driving, Bub. I didn't mean to, but so Mondays I strive to do FISBOs first thing in the week. So that usually averages, I'll say, about 7 contacts that way. And then I've been really hitting Mojo hard because I'm about to start door knocking in the neighborhood. So that's what Mondays usually look like. Tuesdays, I really follow up hard with my past clients and my old Zillow clients and things like that. Wednesday comes around, I double back on FISBOs just to see if anything pops up, or follow up with my Monday contacts, see if they got any traction through there. And then Thursday comes along, and then I try to do something, different, see if I could, bring a different lead from social media and things like that. And then Friday, I usually, whatever I have left to reach in contacts, I just hit everything I got.
It's not bad until Friday. That's like hit everything I got is not that's kind of a catch.
Yeah.
I'm more specific.
I mean, but we already did this, so I have it in my email. I just couldn't pull it up.
I got you. We already did this. You're right. And when I asked everyone to explain it yesterday, we couldn't really delineate what each day looked like. And so that's where this conversation comes from. But at the end of the day, if we don't have a plan that is rock solid, then we're planning to fail. And I don't want us to fail. Hugh, I saw you jumped. Hugh, you able to give me your snapshot? What's your week look like?
Yeah, I got something. I wish I would have heard everything. I jumped on about like 120, 125. Okay. So on Mondays, we got cold calling for 2 hours. Tuesdays, wait, let me not skip Monday. Monday, cold calling for 2 hours. Focus on Spear. And then I added this is just extra if I have time for it, for sale by owners. I like that. I like that a lot in the beginning of the week. Tuesday was going to be cold calling again for 2 hours. Wednesday, I will cold call again and focus on my Spear again. On Thursday, I was thinking email marketing. Friday for sale by owner to check and see if anything is going on at the end of the week. Saturday would be cold calls and door knocking, and Sunday would be cold calls and door knocking.
That's a busy week there, Hugh. I love the aggression in theory, but I only want you to work 5 days. I don't want you all being burnt out. Now
7 days? Okay.
If you're willing to do it, great, more power to you. The hungriest people eat in this industry. I want everyone to understand that. So if there's an agent out there, and maybe that's you, if there's an agent out there who's willing to work 7 days a week, guess what? He's going to be rewarded off of his efforts or her efforts. If we're willing to work 1 day a week, guess what? We're directly rewarded off those efforts. So end of the day, I mean, we got other jobs. Hugh, Rachel, Kevin, I know you all have other jobs. We want to be cognizant of that, and hungriest person eats. So the more we want to eat, if we want to feast, we're going to work a lot. We're going to go hunt a lot. That's all this is hunting. You eat what you kill. And I don't like that analogy because we're not killing people, but we're killing leads here. Kevin, what's your week look like?
Since I do work at Walmart, I put Sunday through Tuesday as prospecting at Walmart. I've been trying to get everyone that I work with to know what I do. After work on Monday and Tuesday, focus on social media and Sphere. Wednesday, focus on contacting expireds and Sphere. Thursday, door knocking. And Friday, hiking, videotaping the places of interest around town, things of that nature. And Saturday, open houses.
Awesome. you're going 7 days hard as well. So just be cognizant of that. Now, the thing that I love most about what Kevin said was Friday, he's going to go hiking. And the way I took it was you're going to film a video of it and kind of spotlight that hike. I love that
Yes.
because your odds are you're personally going to already be doing that. So why not be cognizant and just film a quick clip of you doing it and then write a quick blurb. It takes 5 minutes to do that. And you're already gonna be out there anyways. Like that's what, when I say just infuse real estate in what you're already gonna be doing, that's the easiest way to do it. And he's gonna put it on social media, get some likes, get some comments. Who knows? Maybe the park service likes the page and shares your post and you're getting your name out there. Make sure when we do these things, we're posting from our real estate accounts. So it comes from Kevin DeHart, Realtor Keller Williams, not just Kevin, right? We got to be intentional with how we're posting things, but I love that. Lauren, I know you're a little late. You're doing something else. Lauren, did you catch this? And if so, what's your 5-day work week look like?
Yes. So I did have an original one that I've been going by, but just last week I kind of switched it up because I noticed that some days end up better for certain ways of lead genning. So roughly what I am trying to start doing is on Mondays, I like to do DTD2 as well as past client follow-up, meaning anybody I've ever talked to that I haven't talked to in like a year, 8 months, 6 months, whatever it is. I'm trying to also reach out to them. I do that on Mondays. Tuesdays, I like to do FSBOs. I reach out to many different people through Zillow, like the FSBO settings on Zillow. Wednesday, I do more DTD2, but I have been reaching out to people on social media that I don't have in my database yet. So I try to finish first everybody in my database, and then I go to Facebook or Instagram and I reach out to people that way. And then I've also been trying to do, I know this kind of doesn't count because it's not a real estate conversation, but sometimes it turns into that. I try to do like 10 things, comment on 5 and get people that way. Thursdays I do expireds, and then Fridays I send, so clients that I'm like, they're kind of like my B clients that I haven't, like they're not ready to buy right now, but they still like to look, like I have a search set up for them. There's like 10 different people that every Friday I'll send them a house to see if, they want to go see it in person to try, kind of like spark their interest. And also Friday evenings or sometimes Saturdays, it depends, but every weekend I make it a point to go out in person and to meet people that way, whether that's going out to a dinner party or the mall or a networking event or going to my job and meeting people. My second job, I try to get in person and hand out 10 to 20 cards every weekend.
I like it, guys. I like sharing amongst the group because you guys can steal shamelessly about what these people are doing, because you're stealing without any cause for concern, because your styles are going to all be different than the next person's. Know that whatever Lauren and Victor and some of these folks are talking about, Brad, these things are working for them. They're closing deals. We have to be diligent. The thing I wrote in the chat, and this is the last thing I'll say before I leave, is you have to place these things on your schedule. You can't just leave it all willy-nilly saying on Monday, I'm going to do this. Okay, great. What time on Monday? I wrote down what the Red Book recommends. This is for a full-time agent. From 9 to 11, we should be doing lead generation, which is whatever we just denoted we were going to be doing. And then after that, from lunchtime after, we can do everything else. Answer emails, do marketing, administration on a transaction we got going, etc. But the first thing we're focusing on is our lead generation. Put it on your calendar with exactly what you're doing. So whatever you just wrote down for day 1, put it on your calendar for 2 hours. Have a dedicated 2-hour time frame that you're actually going to execute that thing. If you put on your calendar, you're so much more likely. These are goals, okay? What you just wrote down are goals. When you tell someone about them, which you just did, you're 47% more likely to achieve them. When you write them down, when you write it down, you're 47% more likely. When you tell someone about it, you're like 87% more likely to achieve them. So because you said what you were going to be doing, now go do it. But make sure it's on your calendar. It is time blocked and it is on your schedule. 2 hours each day. That's all we ask for lead generation. Don't overthink it. Make it simple. If you're working another job, fit it in after. Fit it in before. Go heavy on the weekend. Whatever you want to do. But remember, hungry as people eat. If you got no deals, it's your own fault. Do what you've already said you're going to do, and you will find success. I promise you. Hopefully this was good. Thank you all. I appreciate your time. Recording will be up tomorrow if at the latest if you want to review. Thanks so much, guys. I'll talk to you soon.